Ang video na to ay handog ni CDK of video description. Mabilis, mura, and syempre legit dito. Madali lang mag-order, search for the software you need, add to cart, check out, daan ka sa payment options nila, wala pa isang minuto, finished. May legit working CDK ka na sa software na pinili mo. Gamitin ang aming promo code para makakuha pa ng extra 20% discount sa purchase mo. Kung naghahanap ka ng mura, legit, and original software, check out cdkoffers.com.
Alright, what's up internet? Sorry, medyo pangit ata yung connection ngayon. But anyway, we have two special guests for Media Diet tonight. I'll just do some housekeeping first. The video you're seeing is when ASUS invited us for the Gundam stuff, which a lot of you guys have been...
Yeah, I'm a writer there, like mine and Nico Laveno, my co-director in this one. If you're familiar with them, he did like Blue Bustamante and like Unli Life and a bunch of other films. It's basically our love letter to like Kyodai superheroes from Japan, like which are the giant superheroes. Yeah, it's a love letter to tokusatsu and like all our tropes. So basically, we just wanted to cram. Like I think we're all of the same age to know that block from ABS, like from 1 p.m. to like 5 p.m. with the 3 o'clock prayer in between. Ultraman played there. Like we wanted to condense that block into like an episode, and that's basically Ultraman. So that's all including all the melodrama sandwiched in between. So that's Annalena, Aguila, all these staples.
How is that genre met in Japan? Like, yun nga, we have fond memories of it here. But at the same time, diba, may parang, it's a guy in a suit. I mean, diba? And then, so, is it look also as fondly...
It's very much still kids' entertainment, I think. But there is a lot of pandering, I feel, to the older generation, like our generation. And like,
the ones who grew up with it.
Yeah, I mean, like, their toy line is not... They're like, because I think Bandai is a co-owner, so of course you want to like make that. So that's everything from like Super Sentai to Master Rider, and like there's toys galore. Like the process is they'll come up with the toys first,
and then
out, you know.
And we're gonna it's gonna work out.
The Ultraman franchise though, at least just so we're like slightly on topic, has like a bit of more adult edge to it. Like and I would say it's weirder than your usual, because like Sentai and Kamen Rider, now it's been standardized that they run on Sunday mornings in Japan, like at 7 a.m. So 7 a.m. to 8, that's like
that's the block.
Kamen Rider and like the Ranger, the Sentai stuff. And I actually don't know where Ultraman airs. I haven't really, only because they just opened their official YouTube channel. So Subaraya Productions has like an official, like you can search it right now, and they are hosting like a bunch of free apps of their old stuff and their new stuff, and like a billion other Ultraman related things. But what I always found interesting about the Ultraman franchise, like dipping into it in recent years, has been like it is super weird. It is weirder than Kamen Rider, and like because I think baked into its DNA is that it started out as a send-up of the Ultra series in general. Started out as a send-up of Twilight Zone. Like Eiji Tsuburaya, just a brief background. Eiji Tsuburaya was the effects guy on Godzilla, directed by Ishiro Honda. And they both worked for Toho. Toho is the company that like owns Godzilla, and like I forget. I think it's that the crashing wave you see in Japanese movies. I think that's
that's also
like right before that. And what Tsuburaya I think wasn't happy with the stuff he was doing at Toho. So he broke away and he formed his own production. So that's how he made it. He went to the TV, which is like a fraction of the budget. But he was always a fan of like Twilight Zone. It's like, first thing I'm gonna make is this show called Ultra Q, which is like this really bizarre science show, like a bunch of other stuff. And like he would make like monsters for it. And then for his next show, it was Ultraman. The Ultraman we all know and love with a 3-minute timer and everything. He wanted to make just like a fantasy show. That's how it started. And like nobody was prepared for how big it got. Like from then on, it's been. But like out of all the tokusatsu franchises, Ultraman took the longest break. Sentai has been going forever. Like I don't think it's taken a break. Like there's not been a year without Sentai, or if ever, it was only 2 years max. Masked Rider took a break from the 80s to like the late aughts. That's like Kamen Rider took a nap for a decade. Ultraman took a longer break. I think their last one was during the 80s, like 83, and then their new one was already in the new millennium.
I can really tell you're a fan, ah. But to bring it back to Carpio Man, just sort of not to spoil anything, but like what's the basic premise? And so it's local, diba? Parang he's the guy who transforms into the hero.
I mean, it's
Well,
same
are
thing.
you-
It's like
I mean, wait.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Bernardo Carpio myth,
I'm not.
the Philippine myth?
No,
Yeah.
no.
So start
no.
there.
so that's where it started. The idea came about, like as most great ideas do. Nico and I were at a friend's birthday and we were drunk. And he was like, man, gawa tayo ng Ultraman. I was like, sure, let's do it. Parang
Why
tayo-
not? Yeah.
Oh yeah, gawa tayo ng Ultraman. Pero parang gawin natin si Bernardo Carpio kasi siya lang yung higante natin. So because of that dumb insight, it's like, yeah, no, the more you thought of it, like, now this kind of makes sense.
Parang
Like,
pwede. Oh.
yeah, pwede. It's like you take certain liberties with the myth, like he's trapped in between two mountains. Some versions of the tale paint him as a giant, others he's just like a really strong dude. So we just went with the giant thing. And like, of course, the Ultraman trope is like the hero sharing a body with like this otherworldly being. I mean, that's a part and parcel of it. Like Ultraman lives inside like the Shin Hayato, and that's sort of the basis for Ultraman. And then like we just wanted to blue collar it up as we do with most of our stuff. Like because if you watch like a lot of the Ultraman, and like if you've seen all the Sentais, like all the openings are either like photographers or like race car drivers,
Yeah.
karate masters, like, and no one was like a schluff trying to get by, right? Like
Yeah.
no one would have that. The only instance I saw that like, in recent memory was that Samba and Dinosaurs thing. Because it's the first time like I saw like in their lineup of like your tropes, like your snooty rich kid, like your black badass, the hot-blooded leader, and like the girl.
The girl.
And
then the girl.
Yeah, no, the girl.
Yeah.
Uh,
The one without a
I mean,
personality.
I'll call it what it is. I mean,
Yeah,
Japan is like catching up with that regard. The blue guy, the Blue Ranger, was like this 40-year-old dude,
Yeah.
like single, and he had nieces, so that was him. He was like a delivery guy. So it's like, this is really good. Like,
Yeah.
and he was strong because he lifted stuff. Because like he was a delivery dude, like he used to move.
Yeah. You gotta.
Yeah, and then,
that's
like,
how they
I guess-
explain. That's how they explain the certain. Like I never understood. There was always some sort of race car, like you mentioned, a race car driver in those
Yeah,
seats,
yeah.
right?
Or like
how that
a
makes you-
skeet shooter, like that was like a viable profession. It's like in the intro, he'd be like shooting something. Like, I guess he does this for a living.
Yeah, or like even like the motorcycle. I guess something about being tough or being
Yeah, or
like
cool. Like you had to be cool.
agility, or there was a
Yeah, yeah.
response time thing. I don't know. It didn't seem.
Yeah,
I wasn't.
and
I was
like
like, what? Okay.
for sure. And like all the Ultraman heroes, they were all like part of the makeup was that they were part of like an agency, a scientific agency.
Yeah.
So they were well adopted. So what we did was that we just pared it down. It's like this guy trying to get by, and then he doesn't want to be this giant thing, right? He doesn't want to like help. He just wants to like provide for his adopted daughter, and like he'll just use this giant thing to farm. So he'll just grow big and like just dig out stuff, and then like
Yeah, like make
like,
rows of.
like Raycom, and like
Yeah.
that's how he does. And then that's basically Cartman. Like it's this his father and daughter who are trying to get by,
Yeah.
and the dad has like these awesome powers that he doesn't want to use. But the girl is like super into it. His
Yeah.
daughter is like, you should be this dude, you should be this hero, and that's the premise.
That's a central, ano. And
Yeah.
then you're hoping like it's you have it mapped out for 6 episodes. Like is the current story
yeah,
arc?
6 episodes in a movie. No.
6 episodes in a movie.
and throw in the movie deal.
Yeah, that's the winner. Yeah, no, I mean it's really, yeah, we just want to do like just finish the story, tell it clean, and then if there's a second season, But really, just like the goal from the start was really to just get this off the ground. And I think we did that with the pilot. It would be great, but like the fact that we already like were able to like build miniatures, and make a suit from scratch, and like. If you've seen the thumbnail, he's purple and green and like.
Yeah, I'm flashing the thumbnail now so they can see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's him. Like we call it out. Like he farms talong. He farms eggplants because that's a color scheme.
Kaya siya ganun.
But it's also a shout out to Ava Unit 1, I think. Because I've never seen robots colored that way. Like when kids and I were watching Ava, like growing up, it's like like these are wild colors, and like so that's like sort of our tribute to Ava 1. It's
A lot. If you remember, actually growing up, a lot of the colors were very patriotic. The Americans had red, white, and blue, and yellow were very common colors. Most Gundams are those colors.
Yeah, are still those colors.
Yeah. So a lot of when you see Ava, it's like he's fucking purple, man. Like
yeah.
Purple,
Like
he has a mouth.
It literally
Like,
sears your eyes. Like,
it's not a It's not a kind. It's a jar. It was a very.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the episode, but parang I went through the comments and a lot of them nga are like, it's like a love letter to, I mean, you do have a lot of inside jokes
we're
to
super
the other.
happy that a lot of people got
the
vibe
references, and
and the vibe you were going for. I guess like like it struck a chord like people from that era.
Yeah.
And like who are also fans of Tokusatsu. I mean, even Chris's newer fans are like saying good stuff. So we're happy about that. At least it's been sort of well received. In terms of...
Yeah, actually, I'm just letting people know that the link is in the text description if you guys want to check out the episode. Actually, I just wanted to ask a little bit. We talked about it a little bit off camera na how viable is this kind of vehicle na parang direct to the fans kind of thing. And I mean, there's so many types now like Patreon and things like that, diba? But for this kind of production that you do need, you have a lot of people. It's a very collaborative effort with the team of special effects and actors and the writers, the directors, etc. How viable is it like for the local scene to have, independent shows like this na not tied to a major network?
I would say like if you have the logistics and the money, like it's super viable. Like you can put up a show on YouTube, but I think we have a higher success rate with like your one-stop influencers.
Mm-hmm.
I feel because I think that is the format that everyone is consuming now. Like for a show like ours, like which requires a commitment, then you would have to like watch it on a platform, or like it will have to be on Facebook, which I think we should do actually, because Facebook is free in the Philippines. YouTube you'll still need like or like a decent connection, but I think viability in terms of like can you sell it and make money off of it? Yes, I think someone's gonna like snatch it up and like put it on a platform, because that's like the bigger platforms that are like hovering above us. Like locally, like more and more local platforms, internet streaming platforms are sprouting up like their own content. Whether that's a good thing remains to be seen, because like you're splitting the pie basically, and like people who already can't afford one subscription, like you have family sharing Netflix, right? I think it hit me most when I was at a mini stop, like at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and like there's a mom and her kid who was in college, and like the kid was like, we like me and the roommates, we all like chipped in for the Netflix. So like, if that's your sort of like, I mean that's the culture we have now. It's like you're gonna chip in for one streaming platform per household.
Yeah.
To like split it into like many with and like hide content behind a paywall. I don't know how viable that is. Like, no matter how many stars you have, it's like it's gonna really split the market.
Yeah.
Like, and nobody's gonna watch anything basically. So that's the worry. Not like anyone's like watching stuff now, but like
not that I advocate. So sorry, just to jump in. Parang the only common thread among all of the streaming channels is like the underground. Like, you can still go online and find the episodes and then yun nga, just disclaimer na not to advocate downloading anything or things like that. But parang
for sure. It's a sticky subject here, especially locally. Like, because like I'm in the industry and like it would suck
if people just
someone takes away your revenue, right?
Yeah.
I mean that's really the like you'll feel it. But like to go freelance and like not have like a goal to like distribute and like just put it on yourself. I think there is, if you put it out consistently enough. I think you need to have the commitment for that. But what I think to answer your question, the most viable is really just go on TikTok or like, because those are the ones who blow up. Like you have Minia, you have SB19, you have all these other. Their content isn't like the content we're used to, but that's what the content people want. Like, and then apparently content has now become a 4-letter word, according to Martin Scorsese. Like depending on who you ask, content like should be like research. Like it's this whole thing. I mean, we're in the midst of like learning this whole language to like define all these things.
And parang as the services get bigger, ironically they keep fragmenting. I mean, Netflix just like a juggernaut, but aside from Netflix, you have Amazon Prime and then you have Disney Plus. So parang they're all gaining momentum. HBO Max, yeah.
Paramount just came out with their thing.
So, diba, are there any plans for like a local version? Like, I don't know, like where ABS is, but like GMA or
iFlix tried it.
It's kinda, but there's like more for the movies, diba?
iFlix, I mean there's series. Like I think is the leader in the game because they're tied up with TFC. So I provides the Balikbayans and like the OWs like a link to our shows. Like all the shows are there. I want the TFC though, which is the Filipino channel, and it's an ABS initiative. So they may have lost their main broadcasting thing, but like, I guess they're focusing it all online.
Yeah. Okay. So please do check out Carpioman, and I actually will do so after this stream.
Share it if you like it. We could use the clicks.
Yeah, especially
something I thought you would never say in my life.
Especially for people of our generation growing up to those kind of... I mean, they're not cartoons, but like in the back of my mind, it's like cartoons plus that. Diba parang kasi they sort of go side by side.
Yeah. I mean, like, you tend to lump them in. And I think, before we move on, it's like, it's also providing kids with something. Because, like, me and me, there's really not a lot of kids content. Or, like, the kids content, like, you want for everyone. So, like, this is a step in that direction because everything is really high drama or like stuff that isn't like really aimed at a particular kid-centric market, and like that's what we're hoping to do with these kind of shows is like pick up that resurgence of kid-centric entertainment. Yeah.
I think it also bears mentioning at this point that some of the major investments of recent companies is they've bought networks that are making that content. Nickelodeon is making an Avatar channel. HBO Max essentially bought Cartoon Network and told Cartoon Network it essentially gave Cartoon Network a lot of carte blanche to make things like have you ever seen Infinity Train? You'll like Infinity Train. Infinity Train is amazing. Primal, Summer Camp Island, right? Steven Universe, all that stuff is on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Right. Every major studio basically invested. They realized what Michael Chabon wrote about this in Maps and what was it?
I haven't read it, but I'm familiar with the title. Yeah.
But Maps and Constellations, is that the title? I forget. But he actually says, the industry of comics was a juggernaut back in the day because it sold to children, and those children grew up, and they continued to buy it. They didn't stop buying it at a point, right? And then this move to more adult comics sort of ended that
kind of progression.
But I wouldn't argue, but I'd say that cartoons in a way have done that. Cartoons like Avatar and Steven Universe, and all the cartoons that have been produced in the last couple of years have endured because the children who grew up with it passed it on to their children. That crossover potential of this is why in the publishing class I took, I had this. Our professor was a former head of. He was a former head of children's literature, children's books in Penguin, I believe. It was either Penguin or Random House. But she said that she was always arguing with the higher ups for more money. It's like she was basically saying, my department made the most money.
So I should have
more money.
I should have more budget, right?
Yeah, I should have the budget, right? They kept throwing money at novels. They kept throwing money at prestige writers and stuff.
YA.
She was like, I pay your salaries, right? Like, it was like, why aren't you investing in me? And that's basically it, right? Children and adults can enjoy children's media, whereas you have adult media that can only be enjoyed by adults.
Yeah.
That's why there's always this. When they make a movie, they're like, "Oh, it's going to be R18," and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna lose the whole teenage market. The teenagers can't go and see it.
This is not a good franchise to start." Yeah,
that's a lot of money off the table, basically.
Yeah,
right. There's a lot of, and I feel like that if you can figure out, right, that sweet spot of producing something that is both for children and adults, it'll be great. That would be the dream. My fucking Avatar is like.
I know, and at least it's the old guys, si Brian and si
DeMartino,
after Netflix, unceremoniously dumped them.
Didn't they?
Yeah. Well, they left.
They
left. But are they finishing Dragon Prince?
Isn't that the other dude?
It's not.
Three of them,
yeah.
Right? Like he's
he's
a problematic
Volpe,
dude,
yeah.
right?
Giancarlo Volpe.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I know the Dragon Prince dude is the problematic one because of the weird
sige, let's segue into the next all of this talk about like children's stuff being accessible to adults and things. Actually, the next thing on the list is for tonight is Pacific Rim, of whose screenshot apparently I don't have. Anyway, Pacific Rim in the Black. Actually, I just finished. I didn't mean to binge it, but parang yesterday I went through like 4. There are only like 6 or 7 episodes or so in the first season. 7. Yeah. Okay, I can see you guys are a fan. Parang I watched like 4 like in one go. Then
I watched one.
The first one.
I watched the pilot. So here's my initial concern is I hadn't seen the sequel.
The second.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like nothing from that sequel makes it weird.
Okay, because I know there was my nephew, my godson, is a huge fan of Pacific Rim. It's the movie that he used to placate him with, which in retrospect wasn't always a good thing because
But-
the opening scene is literally like, a Jaeger punching a kaiju in water and stuff. Anyway, so he loves the second movie.
Over the
And
first. Over the first?
No, I don't know about over the first, but he loves the second movie. And he's not even 10, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say his opinion doesn't matter, but it's questionable. But here's the thing: I've seen snippets of having visited him, haven't even talked to him on phone. He has mentioned it, and I've seen bits of it out of the corner of my eye, and Charlie Day came back for it. Charlie Day.
Everyone came back. Yeah.
Everyone came back.
Well, except for the
Everyone
Marshall
who
Pentecost. Yeah,
Yeah. Spoilers. Except everyone who died in the first. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait,
And Charlie Hunnam, he didn't come back.
Charlie Hunnam, exactly. So Charlie Hunnam didn't come back.
Rinko Kikuchi came back, and they did it dirty.
And they got John Boyega.
They did
Yeah.
They did Rinko Kikuchi so dirty.
Oh man.
Actually, the second one for me, parang it was... I super
Did you
love the
see it?
first. I've seen the second one.
The first was like.
The first, diba? Parang it's all of the mishmash na ano.
Honest trailers had it best. It's either the best dumb movie in the world or the dumbest best movie in the world. Yeah, picture poison. But yeah, no.
I brought my girlfriend to that movie and she was like, I don't know if I want to see this and shit. But afterwards, when we came out, she's like, wow, that's so good. That was a good movie. I was really entertained. I was like, diba? Parang you have the scene of Manila being devastated, the aftermath, like in the first 10 minutes. How can you go wrong?
So here's the thing. That movie is again one of the reasons I do not watch trailers. Right?
No
Because
expectations.
When they're like, they're being carried into space. And then he's like, we're fucked, right? We're fucked.
Yeah. I remember that scene.
Kikuchi's like, no, we're not. And then like she pulls a lever, and they're like, activating sword. And I was like, fuck yeah, right? Like, fucking, because that's in the trailer, right? That's in the trailer.
Yeah.
And you see like, it's like they like slashes the thing in half, and they fall to earth. And I mean, that's great. That's like one of those moments where like.
Yeah,
I always
put
love
that in too. Put none of that in this episode. It's like it's really this. Like I can see why your nephew likes it because it's like you're just smashing things with each other.
Kinetic,
it's no.
Yeah. That's
like it didn't have any of the heart in the first. Like it's old enough to like. But like I can see like my 5-year-old self like loving the crap out of it too.
Okay.
For sure.
Yung ko lang sa 2 is na it's kind of obvious the Chinese got their hands on it kasi parang initially it seems like they're the bad guys but then suddenly they're it's like a
like
50
not gonna lie. Yeah, like China will like they if the virus didn't happen, China was going to be the number one box. It was gonna overtake the US already. So like everyone's marketing.
Even before, 2 years ago, they were already trying to position their movies. Yeah.
Like because of only like a certain amount of films can be played.
Yeah.
Like
in
you
China.
make that list, and if
Per
you don't
year.
make that list, you don't play in China.
Yeah. And you don't
So
get your money back.
If you had like second unit, or Iron Man was China, like there's a peace sign and Ultron. But yeah, it's that. But like nothing of consequence is going to show up and. My concern is that it might have exceeded its age rating.
Yeah. I was really blown away. Like even after the first 3 episodes, like, oh wow, did that just happen? Like,
I just thought of that. I was harping on it about how that you need that sweet spot of like for kids and for adults. That first episode, they killed a whole commune, and I was like,
yeah, it's like.
It's like that all throughout.
They made their stance perfectly clear. Yeah, like I was half invested. I was like half watching it for the first third because it was hitting on like familiar. After the Jaeger fight, I was like, all right, to sit back and like see where this goes. And then when they take it to this place, right?
Yeah,
like, wait, like this is not like I'm like Dragon Prince, guys. Like what's
No, this is the dark, man.
Like,
this is the black.
Your designs are too cutesy for where you want to take it.
Yeah.
But you will finish the season.
I finished the series, but like I don't wanna.
Yeah.
I haven't.
So yeah, before we leave, I just want to say like what happened to May. Parang damn, man. I mean that's really.
No, it's like it's. Though I will say, like, if your kid is not ready for Attack on Titan, Pacific Rim the best. You start him on this. It's like baby's first Titan.
Baby's first Titan. Dude, you know my brother. I've been for years. I've been trying to get my brother to Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
And finally, so he's alone in Taiwan, and it's like, all right.
Like, what would you want? Okay, anyways.
He picked it up.
And he was like, after the first episode, he was like, I don't know, man. It's really dark. Like, you know that scene where his mom gets eaten?
Yeah.
Like the first episode, right? Like the mom gets eaten in front of him.
Yeah.
He was just like, I don't know, man. There's like something about them. I mean, it's a great series. If you're not up to date on it, like, I know both of you aren't, but it gets the third season's like a weird like. It answers some questions, but it takes a whole season to answer 2 important questions. You know.
I'm making my way through.
Fourth and fifth
I'm up to date
like,
at the end of 4.
Yeah. Okay, Levi versus Beast Titan, man. Like that fucking. That's how you do it. don't fuck around, man.
Have you started? You started the last,
I'm in season 3.
Yeah.
Season 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I got as far as I don't go down already. Like there's a new queen. That's how far I got.
Okay, yeah, that's season 3.
Yeah.
That whole thing,
yeah.
that part's important. That part's important, but you're also like, why did it take so long to get there? It, like burned a shit ton of stories just. But to
be fair, I've been watching it fragmented, so I don't have the momentum during your season. So when I came into 3, I was like, that's alright. Like,
I took a break. I watched the pilot of the final season, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is really, it's good. I'm gonna save it till it's done. And then I don't know, a couple of days ago, I caught up.
I thought you're current now.
I'm current, yeah. It's not done, but I'm current.
Yeah.
I it snowballed, you know. It
I thought
Netflix kept playing the next episode. It's kind of like
willpower, man. You need control.
That's how they
get you.
It's just like, you know, that little white bar.
Next episode, yeah.
Next episode. Yeah.
I complained to you guys I tried to pick it up at first like a while back, and then like, he's so whiny, it's like a Shinji character na parang, oh my god. But your point was like his mom died, but I get a grip, man, okay? I mean,
I felt like there's a lot of that world is perfectly built in that sense, where even if the characters are whiny, you really feel for them. You really feel like the odds are perpetually against them.
It's like right?
The odds are, and then they literally join the faction of the military that's like got the highest death rate.
That's to take the Titans head on.
Like civilian life isn't great either. Like you see, like what happened.
Yeah, like the mob and
either,
shit.
Either way you go, like if you were whiny, like you got nothing to eat. Like being a regular class citizen is like you're just trying to like get by, and like all these things are fine around you and like falling.
So basically, the best gig is military police. See, that's where everybody wanted to go, man. You're in the military, you have their food, but you don't have to engage the Titans
Yeah. I mean, like it's really, and it progresses that way. It really like I don't know. Like the last season really doesn't pull a lot of punches. It's difficult to watch every episode, right? Every episode's like
I think also like
there's a point in the fourth season where you realize how a man makes a decision. He says, "Okay, we're gonna do this because it's the only choice we have." Right? It's the only choice. Like he breaks it down for everyone and says, "It's the only choice." And you be like, "Yeah, that's fucked up. That is really their only choice, and it's not a good choice, right? It's like
the only one they have.
It's the only one they have.
Yeah.
It's just charge, right? It's charge. It's that or you slow death, right? Like slow death.
Yeah.
Like a really slow death, and like those moments where they do that, where they play that note of like, this is the only choice, this or death. Right? It's constant, and I'm like, oh, it's heavy stuff.
Ives de Ocampo from our YouTube chat, and I know I got his name right, Ives, because he mentioned it previously. He's recommending Mushoku Tensei. Sorry, I'm not familiar.
Is
Anime?
this the one where the guy is reincarnated into?
I'm really not familiar. It's on YouTube ata daw, Mushoku Tensei. Or baka you can see some episodes on YT.
Let me
You gonna research?
Isekai?
For sure.
Like an isekai.
I'm not even like. I guess I'm pronouncing it right. Mushoku Tensei.
Yeah.
It's an isekai. I tried the pilot of this.
It's an isekai.
I tried the pilot of this. It was so-so. I wasn't.
You were like
sold
super drawn in.
Yeah. But I mean, that doesn't really mean it. The average.
It's also like, yeah. Like I think we're at isekai saturation.
Sorry, for those not familiar, including me, what's isekai? I know it's like a subgenre of anime or ano, but
yeah, it's basically the fantasy fulfillment where you get transported to another world and then suddenly you have all these great powers and then you go on these adventures. It's really that. All isekai, like Sword Art Online is isekai. Like whether you're trapped in a fantasy world or a virtual world, like it's a world that's not your own and you have no special powers.
And you're special in that world. Okay.
Yeah, you're the hero.
And you can remix it, like it could be a survival thing.
But I gotta say, Tanya the Evil is a great kind of.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, like So Tanya the Evil is
isekai because
So the way these things usually work is, the main character is injured or dies or trapped somehow and ends up in the fantasy world. In Tanya the Evil, which is available on Netflix, he's a regular salaryman. I forgot what happens to him, but he dies somehow or he's injured. And he wakes up in this fantasy world. But rather than being the traditional fantasy hero, he's a small little girl child.
That's how he's reincarnated in that world.
Yeah, and he's like the most powerful witch of the army, like feared beyond belief, and like Tanya the Evil, known as Tanya the Evil, right? Like that's a great sort of like turning it on its head, like where he's not something like himself, where he's really like.
I respect motivations where your motivation is spite.
Yeah,
it's like
that's what he wants. He's like,
because he dies and like the god or like this higher power is like, I'm gonna reincarnate you and like teach you how to live a good life, and it's like, no, I'm not gonna live a good life. I'm doing all this stuff to spite you. And I'm like, that is a motivation.
I'm gonna
that's a motivation I can
and shit. Like, yeah. That's a great little like.
Yeah, so in that regard, but like I can see the draw. I've watched many isekai. So like sometimes you gotta like let it roll over you. It's like, oh, this is fun, and like
it's not. There are also in the defense of like the pilot. There are really only a handful of very good. There are really just like pilots that are that hit all the right notes. That hit all the right notes that draw you in, that set up the stakes. That even my current favorite Jujutsu Kaisen does not do that. It does not. I wouldn't say it's a killer pilot. It's a good pilot, but it's by no means great. As opposed to, let's say, Dorohedoro, which is a great pilot. It doesn't give you too much. It draws you in. Things like that.
But to be fair, in any show naman, it's kind of hard to have this really great pilot na parang... Kasi you don't know the characters, but you don't know the world. Parang it's always a getting to... It's like a first date, eh. Parang getting to know pa lang na... what are the rules.
Other dates will be
But
good.
it's not
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah. It's not like a constant occurrence. That's why when there's like a really good pilot, then it's like, this is
It's like yeah.
Yeah.
And if the first date isn't
Like,
good, that doesn't mean
show.
naman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for that show that was mentioned, what was it?
Mushoku Tensei.
Yeah, Mushoku Tensei.
Yeah.
Like no shade on that. I wasn't completely sold in the first episode, but that isn't to say that it's not gonna get better.
Yeah, I mean, there's the 3-act rule. So,
Oh, I speaking of good pilots, I guess in a way, Attack on Titan. It's like a really good. That's like a pilot that stays with you. You know,
yeah.
the Titan running, the armored Titan running through the gate, the colossal Titan like tearing down the wall, like that was.
The imagery is super good and it's consistent
Yeah.
throughout the series.
Yeah,
Na this is what it's gonna be about. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like you just want to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really good zombie pilot. Like bare book. No, I mean, it's really like it's a zombie genre.
Yeah.
Right. It's like man against zombie and man against humanity.
Yeah.
Man against himself.
It's really all these tropes that we're familiar with, and like it's really built in that like if you have a killer set up to that, like you want to know because like there's something about like seeing other people suffer that's like, oh man, I hope they make out of this okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that like that got me to watch the whole series. Don't get me wrong. But like I would like to point out like the designs of the Titans themselves are like I've always found the manga art to be like kind of wonky. That's why I never really read it when it was coming out. Because like studio like every studio that has touched Attack on Titan has like rendered it impossible to like go back to the manga. But like the monster design, the Titan designs themselves, they're like really they're like some of the best come out in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Like they hit that uncanny valley.
Yeah.
of,
Na,
like,
it's disturbing, but at the same time familiar.
I mean, they're just like big people if you think about it. But like the way they're proportioned, the way what they choose to like remove or like exaggerate, like really accentuate
The
like,
smiles, right?
Really view the
Yeah.
human form, I guess.
The way they walk, they're like.
It's very infantile nga eh. Parang they're like big babies, but babies who can eat you and chase after you and no thinking, no rational thought behind them.
Yeah, and no remorse when they kill someone, right?
Yeah,
Like,
just like
when you see them like literally like slap someone down like a bug and smear them on a wall, and they're just like, they like move on.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
And also like there's also this mention of the stress of killing something like that constantly, killing giant humans, right? Like, can you imagine like that it damages the psyche of the.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So-
To put it back to movies, like, a lot of the Last of Us concept artists like had to like take leads because they were
Just
for
too
the
intense.
research and like Doom and like no, I mean they have to like their artists have to model like the blood and guts of the humans and like the blood and guts of like how you would strike ahead and like in the case of The Last of Us and like you would have to like to do your job well you'd like sit through like crime scene photos and like and that's what you did every day and so like the director says like okay I like that and that's just weeks of like just sifting through like all these bloody like to get this point that's gonna affect and if you fight like a giant version of that every day it's like it's gonna cuckoo for cocoa forms.
Yeah.
But worth it naman, Giz.
We're really
The latest.
this show with all these little
Yeah. Actually, we were gonna do Attack on Titan last, pero we jumped to it na, so no worries naman. But yun nga, I haven't seen the latest season kasi I always want to wait until it's finished and then like I can just binge it or whatever.
Like not sleep and binge the whole thing.
Diba? Yeah. Although the problem with that is na parang you really open yourself up to spoilers. Like when Mandalorian and then the last episode of Mandalorian came out, parang there's a surprise guest there.
That's another reason why I sort of rushed through.
You didn't want to run the spoiler gauntlet?
Yeah, and I do have a pretty active feed, and
chances were high.
So here's I have an active feed that I don't curate on purpose. I want my feed to constantly surprise me. So when I'm on Reddit, I'm just sitting on popular. Like I don't curate anything on Reddit, so that if something from our Titanfolk, or our Shinjeki no Kyoshi comes up, there's a chance that it will spoil me. Okay? So I you know, best of luck, right? Just like do your best.
Yeah.
Hope for the best, but I'd rather be surprised by my feed constantly. Curate it carefully. Because I'm already surprised by so little. I know I didn't mention this. I didn't mention, but WandaVision was just okay.
I haven't. Meito actually enjoyed it a lot. I haven't watched. I mean, I haven't watched it yet. Pero
Yeah.
I mean, there's
The
like a
first
meta
5 were
twist,
okay.
right?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's celebrated. I'm not.
Yeah, hindi ka ba?
necessarily sure why?
Aren't you a big fan of that kind of genre? I mean, that kind of throwback to that kind of US TV, that era. I mean, I'm just guessing. Yun nga, I haven't seen the series.
Sure.
Have you, Mick? Have you
Like-
seen all of it?
I've seen all of it. I would argue
Okay.
that I wish it was weirder.
Even weirder pa.
Yeah.
Like for the first 5, you're still left guessing, and that's when it's prime because
Exciting.
there's a show that's forming in your head, which is what happened to everyone. That's why it is as loved as it is, because again, like an argument is to be made for the weekly format because you talk about it for a week. You drop these bombs and you talk about that. That's why Mandalorian, which was the only original thing on Disney Plus, like when it launched, made bank because it was part of them not to roll out. Like, there are shows designed to be binged. There are shows that I feel, need to be spaced out.
Yeah.
But WandaVision in particular, I think, could have been weirder. The first 5, that because they were so weird, I was like completely. Emotionally, I would say it did stick the landing, at least for Wanda. But yeah, if you're gonna watch it, then the last 3 episodes were like kind of like we've seen this. Like at least Falcon and the Winter Soldier is more honest with the stuff they're selling. I mean, it's like it's really like 6 episodes of Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan.
Just kind of like bitching about each other.
Yeah, it's like, it's like
Yeah.
I need no universe building in this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be. It's just Anthony Mackie saying cut the check for like 6 episodes.
But WandaVision, it's clear that it's over. Like, this was a limited run series. And then, based on the finale, yun na talaga yun. It's not clear kasi to me.
For the premise of the show, yeah, it's done. But for the character, it's fun,
Yeah, no, they can.
I don't know. See, my thing with WandaVision is the 2 things that sort of get me about it. One is it didn't surprise me the way it surprised a lot of other people because of a lifetime of comic books, right? Like, where you're working with a wellspring of knowledge that informs your guessing. So when you're doing the
math in your head,
math in your head, you've been doing it longer than most. So that was one. The second is that she basically, to not spoil too much, she says sorry and rides off into the sunset.
Yeah, for a lot of shit she did.
Yeah, like it seems not the best mess. And I took issue with that. Yeah, like
I can't. I haven't seen it. I have no idea.
Those last 3 eps are really, they're like. But Jimmy Woo, man, I will watch that man in anything.
Yeah, Jimmy Woo.
Give that man a show. Like all the B-listers, like the B team in that show. It's like
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
just focus on them, guys.
Solid performance. Solid. And also, in a lot of ways, Vision.
Paul Bet. Well, you've always been a Paul Bettany
Like,
fan.
Yeah, Paul Bettany, man. Like, I've always been a fan, but yeah, his performance overall. Yeah, man, this guy's having fun. Like, this guy's
He's getting his cake and eating it too.
yeah, exactly.
I got Marvel movies. I got a Marvel series.
Yeah.
So what more? What more can a man want? Yeah.
He's married to Jennifer Connelly. He goes home to Jennifer Connelly. Right?
This gets brought up every time Paul Bettany gets brought up.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like...
Great. Like,
It's a big thing.
I've loved him since he was Chowder.
Yeah. You don't know who I am. I'm Chaucer. Yeah. That was a great performance. But also the story behind his casting.
As Vision.
No, not as Vision, as Jarvis.
As Jarvis.
So he tells the story. The way he tells the story is he's sitting on the curb. He had just been fired or something. Right? He tells the story like
he told off his a producer and agent.
Yeah, by a producer and
You'll
agent.
never work in this town again.
Yeah, you'll never work in this town again. He answers his phone. It's Jon Favreau, and he's like, "Hey, you want to be the voice of a computer?" And now he's the fucking Vision. Like, that's the trajectory that kind of like
Snitches
every
get bitches.
That's his name, isn't it? Right? Yeah. Snitches wind up in ditches. Right?
Backtrack a little bit. What caused him na parang may falling out dun sa agent niya or ano na you'll never work in this town again?
It's never mentioned.
He doesn't say. Okay.
Here's the thing, right?
Anecdote.
Yeah, it's like an anecdote. It was like he was down on his luck.
Yeah.
He had been told he'd never work in this town again. He got a small gig that is what he is now.
Yeah. It's not even an on-cam gig, diba? I mean, it's just your voice.
It's just the voice.
It's like a video game, voice acting stint.
But those get picked a lot, man. Have you ever watched the Maria Bamford show?
No. She interviews the voice actors?
No. She is a voice. So Maria Bamford is a comedian, famous comedian, and she's a comedian, and she does a lot of voices for cartoons and stuff. She appears in a lot of cartoons. But they do make light of the fact that the voice actors get paid a heap of money for very little work, right? There's very little they have to do.
Like physically or diba? And you have your script in front of you.
In a regular series, they have to replicate the voice. Like if you ever seen what's his name?
Paulson.
Tom Kenny. When he does SpongeBob, he has to physically manipulate his he has to physically manipulate his
to get
face
the voice
and body to get the voice. Tom Kenny, and he's great at it. Like that guy earns his money. But he's been SpongeBob for decades. Like a decade essentially. Nancy Cartwright, right? Yeardley Smith.
Simpsons.
All those people who do Simpsons, right? If you've ever seen their houses, they're huge, right? They Nancy Cartwright, as I recall, has a palm tree in the middle of her banister, like a Playboy Mansion style banister thing, man. Like
because why not?
Because why not? Yeah, they made tons of money, and Simpsons will never go off the air, right? Those below family.
Speaking of, did you see that they retroactively
got rid of
slid the timeline they slid the timeline again for the Simpsons.
Yeah. I heard about it.
The young Homer, and then young Homer, but he's in the 90s. He was a teenager. So effectively, they've slid it to our generation.
Homer's our age, and Bart is the same age he was, because Bart was born in the 90s. Like that's what they said, right? Bart was born in the 90s. They essentially moved him up to the 2000s, right? The 2010, I would say, right? Yeah. If he's 10, I don't know. Man. Yeah, and everyone's freaking out about it. Have you never read comics? Captain America progressively gets older without age. Yeah.
Well, they got
Magneto also because
Magneto. Yeah,
Magneto's like 100 something now.
Yeah, and they're just saying, oh, he's an alpha, he's an omega level mutant,
and that's why he's still alive.
It's like
he's
he could have been in World War II, guys. Like, he can't.
Yeah. He was a child. He was 10. No, he was 9. They just keep like moving the
Yeah.
We actually the next thing up is I've been playing a lot of BattleTech, the game Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries, some of the clips we've been showing on stream, and so because of that I got inspired to go back to the books. I don't know if you guys read, they're super pulpy sci-fi books again from the 90s. So it's the FASA universe, like Michael Stackpole.
The covers, like I did a search a while ago.
Okay.
That's some rad art. Like that's like that belongs on a man.
Diba? O parang you see, not to judge a book by its cover, but when you see those books, you kind of know, like, you know, what's the stuff inside, right? But they were so.
It's romance novels for nerds.
Yeah. Parang these were formative, So anyway, parang my thing. I wasn't sure if you guys read it, so my thing about it was more like, have you ever come back to something na like you read or you watched when you were a kid, and then parang you come back to it later on and you're like, I mean, and then just to clarify, like I still super love, like I'm still plowing through the BattleTech books. You know, they're like candy, parang they'll always satisfy on that kind of level. But parang did you ever watch or read something na later on like you were parang like, it's not pala as good or as satisfying as I remember. And then so just to shift gears a little, parang I'll never apologize for liking those pulpy sci-fi books, but like one book that really got me na it wasn't like, I was super blown away when I first read God of Small Things, but on the third reading, like 10 years apart, parang ang ganda pa rin ng language, but she's so angry that the tone really kind of infects the entire book, which really kind of hit me on the third reading, yun nga, 10 years after, na parang I can dig the language, but parang the story is impaired na because it's just such an angry character all the time. So I mean, not but have you guys ever felt that na it blew you away as a kid or like whenever, like in one period in your life, but when you came back to it, you're like, parang not so good, or
not necessarily in that order, but Peter S. Beagle, the writer of Last Unicorn, has another book called Tamsin, and it is I didn't read it as a child, but I long time fan of Peter S. Beagle. But that Tamsin is by far one of the best voices I have ever read of a young girl.
Who's it? So, sorry, what's the book? I'm not familiar.
Tamsin. It is one of the best, right?
Sorry, female, young female voices.
Yeah, young female voices. Tone, like you described anger, right? She's moved across the country to like her mother marries some Englishman. They moved to England, and she's from New York. And excellent voice. Despite being so, I reading it as an adult, I'm fascinated by that fact. That if I had read this character as a child, would I have sympathized with her as much as I do now? Right? Where I can sort of I hear her voice, and it feels really good. It feels like a child's voice really wrote the story.
It feels authentically
it feels authentic.
Like how a child.
Of how they remember things, and how there's a point there where her mother's friend, who is gay and black and dying of AIDS, but the way she remembers it is different. And she's like, he's just a really nice man. He was one of the only black people we knew. He was dying of something that people didn't understand, right? And he liked men. he liked other men, and and he gave me the speech before I left, and nice stuff. But like it makes light of the AIDS epidemic of time, its production, and like just like things like that, like the way a child would remember that character, but the way he's sort of framed now as a mention of that time, of that like really sad, abandoned, forgotten, like they tried to just they let these people die, right? They let these
Those
people die
individuals,
and
yeah.
en masse, just like they turn them into indigents and pariahs and.
But for you, it's kind of like the opposite, Giz. Na parang,
It's the opposite,
it's so good now. You're wondering if it would still have been good, like if you had read it, as a child or younger.
Yeah. But I can't say I have that experience. I haven't reread anything
Recently, na
the
parang,
only thing I reread, Charlotte's Web. I reread Charlotte's Web.
I didn't come to that as a kid. I mean, I read it like medyo old na. Yeah, you can see why it's a classic and things like that.
My sister used to read it to me and do the voice. Got a very special. Terrific. Like all the farm animals spoke, so they all had different voices, and she did all of them. And the way they're written, the way they come off is, they do sound different.
Yeah.
They do sound different.
You mean not just from a physical voice point of view, but like how the characters.
Not just from a grammatical reading of the text. They really there's a tone in the character's voice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
E.B. White, you can't do any better.
Yeah, but I also want to mention that I read much later in life, Stuart Little.
I've never read.
That is the superior book.
Over Charlotte's Web.
The Charlotte's Web. It is just like the what the fuck, like I saw a Reddit meme recently about how someone making fun of the movie.
Stuart Little.
Stuart Little, where the concept of the movie is they go to an orphanage, they're gonna adopt someone.
But they come back with a mouse.
And Hugh Laurie,
Yeah.
Hugh Laurie
Yeah.
and the kid from the
Arthur, diba? Parang...
the kid from Jerry Maguire.
Sorry, yeah. I could see it.
Star-studded cast, right? They go and they go to an orphanage to adopt a child, and they end up choosing Stuart Little, this mouse, voiced by Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
And people were making fun of it. They were basically like, "We're here to adopt a kid. We'll take that one, the mouse." Right? Like, forget all the other orphans here. We're gonna take the mouse, right? Fuck all the other human kids. But in my mind, I was like, dude, I read that book. That child, that mouse, Stuart Little, is born into the family. He's born a fucking mouse. Like, there's no adoption scene in the book. He's born a mouse, and he lives like everyone.
Like a child. Like a human child. Yeah.
He's just like, all right. Yeah. I had a mouse. Like Mama Little was just like, I had a mouse. All right, this is your little brother.
Yeah.
And
next kid.
Man, yeah. But that book is like weirdly excellent, right? It's really like. It becomes this, so yeah, just like Stuart goes about the world and he experiences the world and he's got all this philosophical, I don't know.
He's a mouse.
He's a mouse, right? He was born into a family of, there's like, I don't know, backstory to like the genealogy of the Littles and stuff. Jeez.
Anything for you, Mick? Like something you've watched? Or read?
I mean, like you watch like old shows that really don't hold up. Like I think the easiest example is like not anything that you liked as a kid, like from the 80s. So like Transformers, like those shows do not hold up. Like I could not get.
Oh wait! We're on tough ground here. After the movie, movie still holds a special place for me.
No. The movie, like, but if you watch the show.
The show. Okay, yeah. The 80s cartoon show.
They threw money at the movies. The movies are great. Like, don't get me wrong.
No. We're talking about
the show. Yeah.
The series.
Yeah.
The original animated movie. What's sacred?
Yeah. it is a slog to get through those episodes. I tried again. It's like, oh man, this is not. This is not holding up.
It's weird. I remember it being weird. There's mermaids and shit. Like robots fall in love with chops.
Yeah, like it gets weird. It's not in a good way. It's like, what? Get into it. It's really like, oh, this is a slog. And it's like, I guess. Ghostbusters were held up pretty well. I think that's because of Straczynski, I feel. Some comedies didn't. I mean, like everyone thought about Coming to America, which is the sequel to Coming to America. I think I did a rewatch of Coming to America. It's, like, you remember it as this, like, whenever it was shown on HBO and, like, you watched that on laser disc, it's like, you know all the lines and it brought me so much joy, but, like, it's an alright, it's an okay film, like, if you watch it now, like, without the... And I think that's like, nostalgia, like, plays a big factor in, like, revisiting all these old things. That's why, like, when you're trying to get into, like, a new fandom, you watch like some of the stuff that was like if anyone's like trying to deep dive into like Godzilla, for instance, like you're gonna have to slog through the '60s stuff and like
Godzilla,
which is yeah, no, I mean, which is great. Like you'll either jump on or not for those types of things. Yeah, and like some stuff for you doesn't hold up. Like going back to old comics also. Like. No, I mean, like there's really, I mean, there's a point to be made against like the Bendis style of like stretching stuff. I forgot what it's called. There's a term for it. Where Bendis just like stretches out like moments, like decompressed storytelling. The new way of like writing comics, where it's like you don't have to end every issue with a cliffhanger, like you treat it like a show. There's an argument made to be Bendis, like he took decompressed storytelling like to a fault, like it's just pages of where nothing happened. But it's also like a counterpoint to like going back to some old comics. It's like there's so many words on this page. It's like you can barely see the drawing. It's like word balloon, caption boxes, the layout's weird. It's like, oh my god, so much information that we need. And then you come to appreciate like, what people are doing now, especially like the really good cartoonists like who can say a lot, but like 9 panels in a page, and like you don't need to like stretch this out for months. Like some of the newer cartoonists, they does the YA. Independently produced non-big two stuff. I mean, you've read Laura keeps breaking up with me, and I think that's like a really good use of the medium. It's like economical, but like also like it's the right beats. But then you go back to something like Claremont Road, it's like, oh my god! It's like I'm glad I can like boost this up now.
Parang we lost Gizmo's audio. But I can still
hear
it. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I muted it for a second there. The dog was scratching at the door. I was just saying that there's really I'm one of the things I really appreciated about the MCU is that a lot of their stories are ended. Captain America's is ended. Steve Rogers has retired. He's done. Iron Man is dead. Like that's it. That's the end of that story.
Chapter 7 been closed.
Yeah. Those chapters are being closed.
For the 5 of you who have not seen it.
Yeah, for the 5 of you that, you know,
holding out for the Snyder cut.
Coming soon.
Yeah, coming soon. HBO Max.
This week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's really something to be said about that. There's really something to be said about that. That the property has run its course. There's been a lot of in publishing recently. There's been a lot of people who are like saying the copyright law is archaic, draconian, dumb. Right? It breeds mineism. Right? Like mine. And things should enter the public domain sooner. Personally, I think the amount of time is just right.
It's at 50. No, it's at is it 50
80.
plus 50 again?
80 upon death.
80 upon death.
Yes, 80 upon death. So that's fair, I feel. If you live long, you live to a ripe old age of 80, your descendants get 80 years. Another generation, ideally.
To mine the IP.
To mine the IP. If you're not, and you die younger, and you're gonna still get the 80 years. That's fair. Fun fact: that was a product of Sonny Bono. Sonny Bono was a senator. He wrote that. Yeah, Sonny and Cher, man. that was it. But like things entering the public domain, I'm totally okay with that. But then you have predatory companies like Disney and Marvel, essentially are hanging on to their
yeah,
constantly redesigning it.
Yeah.
So that they can
reapply
the. That seems disingenuous. And it's not like they can't come up with new stuff. They have. They're princesses and they've got a wellspring that they don't want to leave. And Marvel's the same way, and DC's the same way. And as much as I love comics, I'm curious more than anything of what it would be like if they retired. If Batman retired and Dick Grayson took over and had his own adventures as billionaire playboy, right? And went on to be Batman, and then like I'd be curious about that world of inheritance, and I would be more interested in it, I think. But that's not to say that I won't. There have been some amazing stories, of course, that have been told about characters whose IPs have been renewed. Right? That wouldn't be possible if they hadn't been renewed. Questionable slippery slope.
But since both of you guys are in the creative industry, Mick as a director, Gizmo as a writer, parang, do you get annoyed that a lot of the attention is for established franchises? Kasi there's a lot less work required of the audience to jump into a Star Wars or to jump into a Marvel compared to, I like supporting original stuff, but I have to admit, parang, there's a comfort in jumping in na this is how the Force works until somebody screws it up. I mean, diba? Parang they're always screwing it up naman.
There's a lot of shorthand. I guess that goes into that. You can skip all that, but I do believe in the power of team. I think it's really that. I think I'm liking it to as much as I love all these things. And I like them to eating burgers because they're bad for you and they're bad for the environment.
Yeah, but they're so damn good.
Which is what everything Disney puts out. Like they're this mega monopoly that's everything by the balls, right? And which shouldn't be the case. And that's why we're discussing IP in the first place, right? Like
They own Disney. So Disney owns Disney. The Muppets. Fox.
They own Muppets. Yeah, and
Muppets, man, they own.
No, and it's ridiculous that like Avatar fans and Avengers fans they're owned by the same company, guys. No matter who wins in that fight.
Yeah, who wins that? The number one.
That company makes money. It's also for me, it's a bunch of I know we rag on the older the even older generation right now, since we're already the older generation. Even older generation, because they have held on to these properties and things so long, and they want more of that. Which I get. I get you want more of something because it's comforting. I feel you're really gonna saturate it. I feel it's not as bad as it was during the 90s. There was this sort of resurgence of old properties. That's we got stuff like the Shadow, the Phantom, right?
Yeah.
It's all these old pulp 60s sitcom remakes.
Yeah.
And now we're going back to that. But not at the scale that we're doing now. Everything is I think they're really viable and they're really appealing from a business standpoint because precisely of the built-in. You have a built-in audience and you have a built-in understanding. Shadow and Bone is coming out in Netflix, right? Like that brings a whole fan base with the Witcher series. They're all properties that like have a built-in fan base. Fans who have loud enough voices to do the marketing for them.
As everyone in this chat has finished Witcher 3.
Witcher 3?
Yeah. Except expansions. Because I value my life and time. I've done Blood and Wine.
I've done the expansions. I'm sorry.
I've done the expansions. I just finished. Like literally Monday, man. I was like, retired to the vineyard.
Yeah.
Just had I see the sidebar. Yeah. I didn't just retire. I hung up all my armor and swords. I put on a shirt. You know the shirt? That's the regular shirt. Regular pants and slippers. Calico slippers. Like, fucking, I hammed it. I like full on retired. I was like,
but you retired to your home because one of the expansions gives you a home.
Yeah. You got a fucking vineyard.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Exactly. A vineyard, like business. Yeah. I full on retired. Like, I was just gonna ask, Triss or Yen? Who did you end up with? Mick?
I ended up with no one.
Oh, you tried to fuck both of them.
No, I didn't. I just said no to both of them. It was a sad ending. It's like you walk on the Witcher's path, man.
Yeah.
with the swagger, yeah. Walk up into the sunset.
If you try to get with both of them, you'll lose both of them. I'm like, he slept with so many people. It hardly seems to matter.
Why?
Yeah. Why make this choice now? Or do they not know about it? Do they not? There's a scene on the boat, on the last boat where you're on your way to fight the Wild Hunt, where the sorceresses are like, well, with the exception of what's the name of the blind sorceress?
I forget. Yeah.
Agatha or something. A or H.
Yeah.
The blind. Yeah, the blind. Yeah.
Yeah, with the exception of her, everyone over here has slept with Geralt, right? and she was like, give him some time, he'll come at me. Right? And I'm like, maybe? I don't know. But yeah. I was just curious because I wanted to end up with one of them, but I ended up with the other, sort of by accident. Like, I didn't, but just by choices, and then in the end, like, she appears in the vineyard, and she's like, I'm here, I live here now. And I was like, okay.
That was fast.
Yeah, I was like, no, well, in the end, you're like, yeah, okay, this is, I choose you, right?
Settle down.
Because the other option is off the table, essentially, right? Like,
I'm a bit concerned though about The Witcher
The series.
No, yeah, I like the series, but now what's his face? Superman will also be playing Mass Effect. Will be playing Commander Shepard.
What?
So, yeah, he tweeted, he posted on his Instagram. He had a read through na Mass Effect. I know, right?
Well, that's so weird. Sure, why not?
So I don't know. I'm down for him as Commander Shepard, but yun nga, paano si Geralt? Yeah. So I'm torn. You know, these are
I know he could be playing Jacob. We don't know.
It's or that Russian dude is always such a Boy Scout. It's the Alienko. He can be Alienko.
Yeah. The one who knows what to say.
I'd be pretty. I'd be pretty surprised. Like he ends up playing Garrus or something.
Yeah.
Let's see who's the Krogan.
I don't know.
I could see him as a Krogan.
Witcher was really like Xena. That's why I like Witcher.
That appeal.
It was that.
Yeah.
It's like, it had that appeal. And what's he called in this one? It's not Dandelion, right? It's like
Jaskier. I was actually about to text you. I was like, when are they gonna start calling him Dandelion? Because I really need that to happen. Like, I don't know who the fuck is this guy. Like,
wait, that's a kick-ass song though. Like, easily the best thing of
the songs. They've got all these songs, like their end themes. They really like they did just like we're gonna have some mournful music. No, we're gonna have some bard fucking sing. Get somebody, me somebody, sing this song. Yeah. Like, yeah, he's good. Yes, good. Yeah. But I'm like, just call him fucking Dandelion. I don't know what the big deal is. He's a dandelion. Like, he is a dandelion. He's not even a skier. Like,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I did finish the series.
I don't know, man. Project Red lost a lot of stock.
What?
Yeah, that Cyberpunk and then the hack and everything.
Cyberpunk? Did you play it?
I did.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it naman. Pero it like I wish I had played it like a year later na wala nang bugs and everything was like planchado na. But I didn't
Is it gonna be just a year?
Well, yeah, however long it takes.
Somebody did a comparison to Witcher 3. When Witcher 3 launched, it was buggy, but like not at the rate.
Not at
the Cyberpunk level rate. Like, people were saying Cyberpunk was just a terrible, like.
We lost Nick.
Yeah. It was just terrible. It was just like.
No, we lost Mick on Discord.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed Cyberpunk, and then parang there were a lot of quests there. Oh wait, he's back. There were a lot of quests there that I thought were parang overlooked. They were really good story wise. But parang I felt they were overlooked kasi nga daming bugs and things like that. There were some memorable quests naman for me like on par with what you got in Witcher 3. But yeah, I mean there were a lot of like I wouldn't mind doing another playthrough of Cyberpunk, like 2 years, like a year and a half from now. And then different class.
When it's sorted. I don't know, man. Bethesda's been bought. Xbox exclusive.
Well.
That's a frightening. I can't afford an Xbox, man. Yeah, I can't afford an Xbox. Well, I don't know. Maybe they'll sell on Steam.
Yeah, Microsoft naman still does Windows, so it's in their interest to.
No, they did say they were gonna be like we're gonna be Xbox and PC exclusive, but that's it. They're like Xbox and PC. We're not.
No PS5. Yeah.
No, we're not.
Hell's no PS5.
We're shaking hands with PlayStation.
Yeah.
Just like fair, all right.
Yeah.
But as long as they have sales, man.
Yeah.
I can only afford shit on sales. Like every once in a while I'll get a text from the Mass Effect Legacy.
Oh yeah. The pre-order or no?
Legacy is on sale, and it's always like no more than 10%.
No,
and it's like a 3,100 that's a game.
They're doing the remaster will be out soon.
Yeah, Legacy.
Legacy, yeah. That is the remaster.
Yeah. Oh man.
Alright, on that note, kasi parang nag-devolve na yung chat into a Henry Cavill appreciation forum so I mean, and I get it, man.
Did you see him recently? He was playing Witcher 3. He was playing Witcher 3.
Was there a clip? But he's already played it so many times ata eh.
I don't know, man.
Alright.
I told... Yeah.
Sige.
Go ahead.
Thanks so much to Gizmo and Mick for joining us. Do check out Scorpio Man. The link is in the text description. And thanks for watching another episode of Media Diet. Our next show is Pwede Magtanong, our usual live tech show on this Friday, same time, 9:30. Then actually, when we get off air, Gizmo recently got his PC fixed from us. I'm gonna ask him, kamusta yun?
Nice.
Pero baka hindi maganda yung performance. I'll just ask him off cam. We don't need the bad press.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe.
Nothing but good press.
Thanks, guys.
Everybody.
Thanks. Ingat.